Welcome to Kaleidoscope Toy and Miniature Australian Shepherds in Raleigh, North Carolina. Today's February 15th and I just wanted to do a little video on the elephant in the room. And I'm not here to try to insult anybody who their Australian Shepherd's tail was cut off, or any breeders who are still cutting off the tails of Australian Shepherds and miniature American Shepherds, which the AKC has, the miniature Australian Shepherd in AKC is known as miniature American Shepherd. So here's me, okay. I personally think that an animal should get to keep all of its body parts, unless it has a problem like rear dew claws that are hanging up. They can hang up on bushes and whatnot. Those are dangerous. I've been a veterinary technician, surgical technician, and you see a lot of torn hind dew claws. So that I can understand. The front dew claws are necessary. The dogs need them and they should not be taken off. The other thing, in my opinion, that shouldn't be taken off is this right here. Australian Shepherds and miniature American Shepherds' tails are chopped off, okay? We're talking bone, muscle, nerves, everything. Chopped off, just like that. They usually do it at 3 days of age. They'll call it docking or bobbing. Excuse the wind noise. I have a new wireless mic and I can't get it to work with my phone. And you know who gave it to me, thank you very much, but I'm having trouble with it, so I'm learning. It's a learning curve for me, or my phone is old. But anyway, they're born with the tail, most of them. Some are born with a natural bobtail, which can be no tail at all, a partial tail, or almost a completely full tail. That's a natural bobtail, and there's a DNA test for that, and it's a dominant trait. If you breed two of them together, then you end up with birth defects and puppies that die in the womb, and that's a whole subject for a different story. So, if you read the AKC breed standard for this dog, which is the miniature American Shepherd, Australian Shepherd, if it's a miniature, it's an American Shepherd. What the breed standard says, docked or natural bob is preferred, but they can have a natural tail like Nikita, and that tail will hang with a slight curve, and then when the dog's excited or running, the tail does this, okay? The tail curves up. And so it is an acceptable trait, but the only reason they're getting their tails chopped off is for fashion. The only reason Doberman Pincers get their ears chopped off is for fashion. The only reason miniature Pinchers get their ears and their tails chopped off is for fashion, period. There's absolutely no practical purpose for that in this day and age. There probably never was. In dog fighting, they used to cut, you'll see pit bulls with their ears cut completely off. Well, that's for dog fighting, so that the opponent can't get a hold of their ear. Guard dogs, ears and tails cut away so that the intruder can't get them by the ears or the tail, I guess. I don't know. It's all, we need to catch up with Europe. This is my opinion. And I'd love your comment. I'd love for you to tell me what you think, but I think we need to catch up with Europe, where none of this is allowed. And the tail chopping off, I've been a surgical veterinary technician. I've had to assist in that. And those puppies scream and scream. It's horribly cruel. I had to quit. It was too cruel. I couldn't take it. So, what's happening is the breeders, at about 3 days old, they cut these tails off in the kitchen. No anesthesia, no pain, nothing. And those puppies, I can tell you from experience as a vet tech, scream and scream and scream. And you're holding them in your hand and they're just stiff and screaming and they can't even get their air, it hurts so bad. And this is for fashion. There's no practical purpose. The breeders that'll say, oh, if you leave the tail on, it'll be deformed. Really? Does that look deformed to you? Oh, if you leave the tail on, a cow will step on it. Well, A, none of these dogs are around, they're not cattle dogs, they're pets. And B, Australian Shepherds and other cattle dogs work with tails. They don't get them stepped on. It's a ridiculous argument. They come up with all of these ridiculous reasons why you need to mutilate your dog. Now, again, this is my opinion, but I breed dogs and they get to keep the tails that they were born with. If they have no tail when they're born, that's what they have. If they have a partial tail when they're born, that's what they have. If they have a long full tail, that's what they have, and that's what they keep for the rest of their life. So a lot of people have asked me, well, why do you leave the tails on? Well, my question is, why do you cut those tails off? There's no good reason to do it. Zero. Even in the show ring, if you have a really good dog, you can beat those dogs with the tail cut off. When I would go in the show ring with little Nicky with his tail, and I'd have handlers say to me, oh, is he from Europe? And I'd say, no, I just left his tail on. And they're like, oh, nobody had anything negative to say about it. And, the judges are to judge the dogs that are before them and pick out which dog adheres to the breed standard to the closest. And if the one with the tail is the dog, then that's the dog that should win. So I just wanted to talk with you about this because so many people have asked me and told me that they're getting misinformation from breeders telling them that the dog won't be able to go to the bathroom if you leave the tail on, that the tail is going to be deformed, that all of these ridiculous excuses. So here's what you do is you vote with your dollars. If you believe that dogs should not be mutilated for fashion, get your dog from somebody who doesn't do it. That's all there is to it. And a lot of breeders will say, well, if you pick your puppy by the time it's 3 days old, we can leave the tail on for you. Okay, well, maybe I'm not going to like that dog when it's 6 or 8, 10 weeks old. I need to see it grow up a little bit before I pick my puppy. I don't start having people pick their puppies here till they're 6 or 7 weeks old. We can see a little bit of something about them. And they all have the tails that they were born with. So, and even if you do that, you're still supporting a breeder that's chopping off all the rest of the dog's tails. And again, I'm not here to slam other breeders. I'm not here to judge other breeders. I'm just telling you how I feel, how I do my breeding program. And then it's up to you to decide who you want to support. And I don't have anything against somebody who has an Australian Shepherd with a dock tail or docks their dog's tails. That's fine. Do what you want to do. Do what you need to do and do what the industry and will support. Putting in the breed standard that the tail is fine so people can stop mutilating their dogs. Now, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share.